I, 28 female, have been with my boyfriend for 18 months. Everything was going amazing and I love him with all my heart. Just after our 1-year anniversary, I found out that I am expecting. I told my boyfriend and we were both thrilled. In all the time we've been together, I have never met his family. He claimed they are not close and he didn't agree with their lifestyle. All I know is that they are extremely Christian and he didn't have much to do with them anymore. I never really brought it up because it seemed like a sore subject. On Sunday, there was a knock on my front door. There stood a crying boyfriend, a couple who turned out to be his parents, and his pastor. They told me that he was happily married for the last 4 years. I did not know that he was married, and I truly never imagined that he was lying to me all this time. I never suspected a thing. His parents called me just about every name in the book and told me I am going to hell for adultery. They said I have led their son astray and that I am an evil temptress. They began to quote scripture and told me I need to repent for my sins. My boyfriend stood silently crying and saying nothing. I am not a religious person and never go to church, but their cruel words truly hurt me. I told them to get off my property and never come back. My boyfriend and his parents left, but the pastor stayed behind. He told me that my child was a blessing from God, but a wayward woman like myself should not be raising him. He said that I should give my baby to my boyfriend and his wife to raise as they were not blessed with children together. He said my boyfriend and his family are active members of the church community and that I should be honored that they even want my baby. I slammed the door in his face and told him to go to hell. They will never set eyes on my baby. I have been in complete shock since this all happened, and I don't know where to go from here. I am not giving my baby to these people by any means. I know this isn't over yet, and I just don't know how to prepare for what comes next. This might be a stretch, but how convenient is it that once you're pregnant, people just show up to insult and rattle you? Then the pastor says give your baby to the boyfriend and his wife because they're not blessed with children. I don't know, man, but these things don't just happen. They may continue to pressure you to give up your child. I suppose they figure this would be cheaper than IVF. Or perhaps being so religious, they don't believe in IVF, so lying to and misleading an innocent person was the better way to go. Get a restraining order and a lawyer, and watch that baby like a hawk. This happened over the space of a few months, a few years ago. I was a drama student at university, planning my first show at a well-known theater festival. I had cast 3 fellow students in my play, and over the course of the rehearsals, we all became friends. We would hang out together, and since I was the only one with a car, I would drive them places and pick stuff up for them, etc. 2 of the cast had decided that they wanted to permanently move to the city where we would be performing and spend a month, and the plan was that we would all stay at their place during that time. In the months leading up to the festival, I drove the friends the 4-5-hour journey between the city in which we lived and the city they were moving to multiple times to look at flats. When it came to moving, I helped them do this in my car. I had to make several journeys and never once charged them a penny. All I asked for was they buy me fish and chips on the journey. I was more than happy with this because I was helping out friends. During our rehearsals, quite close to the festival, one of my cash dropped out and I couldn't replace him. We were able to change the show to a one-woman show performed by only me, but that would have meant the others losing out. They had all worked so hard and I didn't want them to miss out on the opportunity. So I wrote an entirely new play and submitted it so that they could still perform. At the time, I was receiving no funding or anything, so I was working 2 jobs so that I could fund all of this myself. Now, this was totally my choice and decision, and I totally would do it again. But I was struggling financially and broke basically. Fast forward to the festival itself. I've helped my 2 friends move into their new house. I'm living on baked beans and pasta because it's all I can afford to eat and running 2 shows. Bear in mind, I've never charged my friends for anything. When they hit me with a 250-pound bill for staying with them, they literally split the rent and council tax for that month with me. But wait, there's more. One night, they insisted on making a meal for us, which I thought was nice of them. Nothing really major, just lasagna. After dinner, the friend who bought the ingredients then sits down the receipt and calculates the cost. She seriously calculated the cost of the ingredients used and charged me for it. One of the final straws happened when the brother of my so-called friend gave her some money to give to me to put towards the show. He was really grateful for the opportunity I'd given his sister, and I was really grateful to him for recognizing my efforts. A week or two went by without any mention of the money from his sister that I knew she'd received. In the car on the way home after one show, the other friend confronted me about when she could expect payment from me for the meal she had cooked me. They knew I was financially struggling, and I said to her that I literally have nothing left to give her. That's when I remembered the money the other girl had. Me. Tell you what, name of friend sat in back of car, still has the money that, name of her brother, gave towards the show. Why not take it out of that? Friend in back of car. I'm not giving you that money. I don't see why my brother should be giving you any money. They were very lucky I didn't just stop the car and chuck them out at that stage. Needless to say, I've never spoken to them again, and they lost a lot of friends over it. P.S. The icing on the cake was that they contacted me a week after the festival when I'd returned home. They contacted me to demand more money for their electricity. I wouldn't have minded paying towards that, and would have done, had they not been such D's about money the rest of the time. You should have turned around and asked for petrol money as you helped them move and say, take it out of that. They are not friends, just users. Should have done instead of did is how you go broke. Sit down, pull out your calendar, count the trips, calculate the gas money, present them with a bill. Tell the brother that you never got the money he sent to you. The story. I babysat a 10-year-old, 8-year-old twin boys, and a 3-year-old. But today I was only babysitting the 3-year-old. Let's call him Peter. Peter and I were baking cookies when Peter's older sister, call her Penelope, came in the kitchen with her friends. I immediately grabbed Peter and took him to his room, gave him a tablet and headphones, and went back down to confront Penelope and her friends. I told her, politely, I have a voice of a mouse. Sorry, but your friends need to leave. She just laughed at me and said, this is my house, and I can do whatever I want. I was like, you know Peter can get sick easily, and you're not supposed to have friends over, and you didn't even take off your shoes and clothes. Peter's immune system is very, very weak, to a point where he had to be hospitalized multiple times, and ever since the virus happened, Peter's father has been taking extra measure for him to not get sick. So if you want to come in the house, you have to take off your shoes and clothes in the space between the front door. I think it's called a vestibule. Disinfect yourself and put on some clothes that have been provided for by the dad. I had to do it. Her dad had to do it, and her siblings had to do it. But I made a mistake. I stuttered, and Penelope saw that as an opportunity to be aggressive to me. I have known the family since I was 18. I'm 20 now, and ever since I started working for them, she hates my guts. Penelope has been aggressive with me, like making fun of my weight. I'm fat as hell. I like watching anime, and she always said that it's for losers or for babies, and that was scratching the surface. I have no spine. I never told anyone about what she did to me, and I just took the aggression. I would try to ignore her until she started making fun of my speech. I have a speech impediment and I stutter a lot. I will cry if you make fun of it. She started mocking my stutter. She said, why are you talking like that? And are you slow? Her friends even joined in and called me a baby. Now I'm crying. I let out a quiet stop. That just gave them more ammunition. They started acting like an early 2000 teen movie high school villain. They start pouting and fake rubbing their eyes and saying stuff like, oh look, she's crying boo-hoo. One of her friends then grabbed the raw cookie batter and started throwing it at me. Y'all, I haven't been treated like this since I was in my early teens, and this crap just hurt like hell. I don't know what came over me, but I had had enough. I said something. I feel awful about what I said. I just yelled, this is why your family hates you. You're such a B. Penelope was shocked that I stood up for myself. So what did she do? She spit on me. Then she slapped me. Then she grabbed my hair. She pulled on my hair so hard that a braid came out and started yelling in my face. I don't remember what she was saying. I was scared and having an anxiety attack. But I do remember her friends not saying anything. I guess they realized this crap was going too far. I don't know how long this went on for, but her dad, let's call him Mr. Smith, came home from work. He heard the yelling and immediately rushed to the kitchen to find Penelope beating the hell out of me. Mr. Smith yelled, what the hell are you doing? Penelope tried to make an excuse, but Mr. Smith wasn't having it. Penelope finally got busted. Mr. Smith kicked Penelope's friends out, and Penelope stormed up to her room. Mr. Smith helped me to my feet and wiped the cookie dough and Penelope spit off of me and guided me to the couch. He asked me what happened, and I just exploded with tears. I told him what happened above and what she would do to me when no one was around. She would call me fat, ugly, pathetic. Every time I have braids in my hair, she always walks past me and pulls on them, hard. If I'm wearing a wig, she would yank that ducker off my head and throw it. She constantly trips me, bumped into me on purpose, made fun of my speech. Ever since she found out I'm bisexual, she started calling me a half-F. And icing on the cake, I'm black, and just recently, my now nickname is Cotton Picker. This doesn't make sense because she's half black her own damn self. Mr. Smith was pissed. He asked why I haven't come to him when this stuff started. I said something like, "Your relationship with her was already strained. I didn't want to make it worse." Mr. Smith let out an okay, got up, and went to Penelope. I heard a lot of screaming, a lot of cursing, a couple of "I can't believe this." Then Mr. Smith came down with Penelope's suitcases and threw them outside. He was kicking her out. Penelope came up to me, crying and yelling, "You ruined my life. This is all your fault, and he's kicking me out because of you." Penelope was about to hit me again, but Mr. Smith stepped in front of me. Mr. Smith was telling her to get out. They started yelling. I was hiding behind Mr. Smith's legs like a coward. Then Penelope said, "You treat her like a daughter more than you treat me." Mr. Smith told her that's BS because he pays for her car, pays for her college classes, and she lives in his house rent-free. And he doesn't give me a dime but the money I earned for watching his little crotch goblins. A lot of things happened before this incident, but now he's done. Penelope stomped her feet like a child, screaming and crying. Then I guess something crossed her mind. I guess it was the way Mr. Smith was protecting me. I was sitting on the couch and holding his hand while he was standing in front of me. Because she said with disgust in her voice, "You're sleeping with her, aren't you?" Before I or Mr. Smith could reply, Penelope just scoffed and left. She just left. After all of that, she just left. I helped Mr. Smith clean up the kitchen. We disinfected the whole entire house, and I took a hot shower to get Penelope's germs off of me. When it was all over, I went home and took a nap. So that was my day. I thought I didn't have any entitlement stories or wild, crazy stories of my own. But I slowly realized, over 2 years, I know this family. I have a lot of stories to tell. Peter was oblivious to the whole thing, and now I have a new spot where a braid used to be. The whole experience was painful. I feel like crap. She made me feel like crap. So this happened last night around 9. I went home and went to sleep. Woke up around 3 o'clock a.m. Remembered this crap happened and posted it. But decided to save it until today. I didn't check my phone the whole time. So this happened a few minutes ago, and I'm just tired. I got woken up by my brother. He told me to go down. I did, and I saw Penelope with her mom. Let's call her Catherine. She's 45, Penelope is 25, and she brought her mom into this. I didn't tell my mom about this. Well, that's because I like to do my problems on my own, and instead of being a burden. And also, if my mom finds out that I got the crap beat out of me, she would not let me go back over there. Catherine started yelling at me. She wanted me to tell Mr. Smith that I was lying and wanted me to apologize to her daughter. Penelope was looking all smug. My mom said, "Stop yelling at my child." And she asked me what happened. I told her what happened between 2018 and 2020. And if she don't believe me, she can ask Mr. Smith. My mom is a Karen. Not the "let me speak to your manager" type of Karen, but I will confront a drug dealer type of Karen. Well, my mom was about to kick Penelope's butt until my brother came down and told them both to leave. Mom then called Mr. Smith to confirm the situation. Then me, my brother, and Mom had a talk. I cried. My mom looked over at the spot where my braid used to be, and I got in trouble for not telling my mom about Penelope. I am banned from Mr. Smith's home until Penelope officially moves out. And I finally checked my phone and noticed I had a lot of notifications from friends, and Mike, Mr. Smith's oldest son. He's 23. Apparently, Penelope was going around and saying crap like I was telling lies to her dad and got her kicked out. I told them the truth, how she attacked me, and how she has been aggressive with me for years. Mike knows how his sister is, so he automatically believed me. And I sent a picture of where my braid used to be to the people who didn't. Update. Stuff happened. Start off, thank you. I'm emotionally and physically tired, and knowing what I did to protect Peter was the right thing, and it makes me feel happy. One of Penelope's friends found me on Facebook and apologized to me. Not the one who throws food in my face, though. Mr. Smith is cutting Penelope off. When she found out, she threw a tantrum so bad that the cops had to be called. I was on a Discord call with Mike when it happened. That made my day. Even though Penelope is a butt-blasting bee, Lord, Mr. Smith loved her and gave her a few days to sort out her living arrangements, and after that, she's on her own. Some of y'all is wondering if I'm going to report this to the police or not. To be honest, that is the last thing on my mind right now. I have the option to, though, but I know Mr. Smith and Mike have my back if I wanted to, maybe after the holidays. But if she tried to come after my family or my friends, then I'm going to the police. But at the moment, I'm just trying to get through 2020. I'm really proud of Mr. Smith, though. He finally is not a weak doormat. Him putting his foot down was really rare. And Mike told me that his other siblings are so happy to find out that the Wicked Witch of the West is no longer their problem. Update 2. Penelope found this post. She said she's going to sue. I doubt she's actually going to go through with it because I didn't use her real name. Hell, if I knew she was actually going to find this, I would have kept the inappropriate joke I made about her dad. She deserves way more than being kicked out. Since you have proof that she pulled your braid out, the bald spot, you can file a police report about it. She's a jerk and is old enough to know better. She won't stop until she faces some real-world consequences for her actions. Please, get the police involved now, rather than when she targets your house and the rest of your family. She needs a dose of the real world. What her dad needs to do is cut off both his wife and daughter. People who be other people are trash, and what she did shows that she is trash. She should be arrested for assault. You need to make a police report and have them take pictures of where your braid was pulled out and any bruises or other injury. Even if you don't have her arrested, you need the police report in case she tries anything in the future. But seriously, if I were you, I'd have her arrested. Honestly, not only should you go to the police, you should make sure that the police and Mr. Smith know that her mother came to the house and harassed you after her daughter assaulted you. With a mother like that, no wonder the daughter is such a nasty, vile person. I might rethink babysitting for that family if Catherine is still married to Mr. Smith and living at that home. You're probably not safe as long as she's around. I know this may be easier said than done because not everyone can afford to quit a job, but it sounds like a lot of entitlement and toxicity here. Penelope can't sue you unless you mentioned her real or full name. If she says she's dying and shows this post, she's going to basically admit to what she did, making her a complete fool of herself. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. The audacity of the bee.